to be working, but I have started recording the session onto my computer. We can share the video with you. So, yes, the question is, what is hope? In Ummeed, should I say hope? Now, the challenge is when we look at hope, we are almost trying to understand it from the perspective of hopelessness. Right now, because this is the issue. When my breathing apparatus is working fine, I don't realize I have something going good for me. But when I have cold, that's when I kind of appreciate the value of breathing normally. So this question on hope is very relevant when it comes to when we feel hopeless. So should we probably look into what does hopelessness mean? Right? What is a state of hopelessness? Now, from a psychological perspective, as a disorder or any such thing, if we have to consider, hopelessness is a symptom. Very often we want to call it as a feeling, yes, but look at it as a symptom. And in fact, if there are psychologists present in the conversation today, you would notice that when you look at the symptoms of depression, the 8th symptom of depression is hopelessness. The 9th symptom is experiencing suicidal thoughts. So when I'm calling it as a symptom, what do I mean? Hopelessness as a feeling is represented when these thoughts start arriving in my mind, which is a sense of, and hopelessness is like a bigger umbrella term, I guess, in a way. I'm not trying to jargonize it, but we kind of use it as a jargon. That's why I'm trying to open it up. So hopelessness, when we are talking about, we are essentially referring to is, it could be either a sense of worthlessness, it could be a sense of feeling stuck, it's a sense of helplessness, it's a sense of uselessness. Now, what does this sound like? Nobody loves me. Nobody will care if I'm not there. It would be better for everyone if I'm not here. There is no way out. Nothing will ever get better. I am a burden on everyone. I am of no use to anyone. Right? So when we are talking about hopelessness, worthlessness, uselessness, what is this? This is the space. It's not, and because majority of us as human beings, we are alexithymic. What does that mean? We are not good at articulating or recognizing our feelings. But this is the script being played in our head. So I'm hoping in this conversation right now, if you have heard this from your own mouth, if you have heard this in your own mind, that is what we mean by hopelessness, worthlessness. It's not something that you expecting as an experience. You won't experience it. This, when you start hearing in yourself, is when you would say, I am feeling hopeless. Now, until and unless you have reached this place, it's very difficult to even start doing something. You know why? Because when I say, look at hopelessness, worthlessness as, I am of no use to anyone, there is nothing good that can come out of it. Then if I look at it this way, then I will not look at hope. What do I mean? Because when you asked me the question of hope, it sounded like a medicine. है कि नहीं? What do I mean? आप क्या बोल रहे थे कि सचिन कुछ एक ऐसी जड़ी बूटी है ना ये चीज जो दे दी तो बच जाएंगे लोग. बट अभी कॉम्प्लिकेशन देख रहे हो. It is not something I'm missing in my life. It is what I'm experiencing because of something not being there. And what am I experiencing? I'm calling myself a burden here. What will you give me that will make me not feel like a burden? Nothing.
True.
What can you give me that will not make me feel unloved? अब बोलो मुझे थोड़ा 1 पाव किलो होप बांध के देना, उम्मीद बांध के दे दो एक पुड़ी में. तो अभी ये दूसरा चीज हमें क्या समझ में आ रहा है? होप कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है, उम्मीद कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है जो आप किसी को दे सकते. I know this is like, okay, Sachin, our entire conversation is kind of getting upturned right now.
This is actually giving us a lot of idea.
But are you understanding what is happening?
Yes, yes.
Because if I think hopelessness is something that the person is not having, then I will try to give it to them. And what do we do then? If I have to give hope to someone, sab theek ho jayega, everything will get better, yeah. What will I say? Hey, this is a small thing. I have experienced even bigger. Look, I am here. And what am I telling myself? I gave Dishari hope.
Oh my God. True.
Huh? So please don't give hope. Because you can't. उम्मीद क्या है पता है? उम्मीद के बारे में अगर आपको एक अच्छी सी कहावत जैसे चाहिए ना, उम्मीद की किरण होती. क्या है? उम्मीद की किरण है. उम्मीद की किरण होती है ना, तो उम्मीद की किरण जगती है. Hope is something that is developed in the person. The person experiences hope. And it is something that rises within the person. It is not something that you can feed a person. What if you're feeding someone something, that is in simple words called manipulation. And a lot of us psychologists, मैं psychologist नहीं हूं, but a lot of us mental health professionals are guilty of this. That instead of helping the person develop hope in themselves, we try to feed them that. And you know what is the problem with this, Dishari? When I try to feed someone something and I don't see uska nutrients usme, I will start blaming the person for not being hopeful. Right? Someone had a breakup, I'll be like, क्यों मुंह लटका के बैठा है? नहीं यार, I'll never get a love of my life. This is what the person said to show you that they are feeling hopeless. What do you tell them? लड़की ट्रेन बस, इनके पीछे कभी नहीं भागना, एक जाएगी दूसरी आएगी. देखो आपने उम्मीद की एक और चूरन दे दी इसको. बट भैया क्या उससे कोई उम्मीद जाग उठी उसमें? कुछ नहीं. आप यहां से हटोगे, वही अरिजीत का गाना सुन के बैठने वाला है. बट आपको पता है एक सिंपल ट्रिक होप जगाने के लिए क्या चाहिए होता है? कोई साथ. मतलब क्या है? एक एग्जाम्पल से बताता हूं. When you were growing up, Dishari, even because this is like a common Indian occurrence, wherever you lived, did you observe there was like a bhoot bangla?
Absolutely.
And like growing up, this is one of the things that as children we have a thing. Oh, there is this khandar, this old dilapidated house, small bungalow, whatever. There is cobwebs all over, dust, leaves, everything. And some woman had done suicide 20 years ago. Apparently, this seems to be the common story everywhere. A woman died by suicide here. And then तब से वहां पे साड़ी पहन के कोई तो घूम रहा है. Now, there is a ghost inside there and there is a kida inside me. Which is that kida? I want to see. Right? Now, do you see this curiosity is creating a sense of discomfort in me? I want. But क्या मैं अकेले जाके देखूंगा वो?
कभी नहीं.
कभी नहीं. कोई मुझे कितना भी चूरन दे दे, नहीं नहीं वो चॉकलेट देने वाली भूत है.
भूतनाथ वाली भूत है
ना? अच्छी है. नहीं नहीं. But imagine, Dishari, what if a friend joins me? अगर कोई दोस्त मेरे साथ आने को तैयार हो गया वो भूत बंगला देखने, तो now am I able to approach that?
Yes, small.
So what did they do? They didn't do anything. It was their presence. That it's because the the challenge is, you know what life's challenges are situationally that happens with you, right? Mom is unwell, sister has thing, and whatever. All these are life situations. There is nothing you can do to reduce that pain for anyone else, right? There is absolutely nothing you can do to change anyone's life situation. You can't change your own life situation, but how are you getting the audacity that you can change someone else's life situation? So first and foremost, get away from that. Then what remains? The only thing that remains is companionship, a connection. The moment I offer this to someone, it's not that the person's fear of that ghost goes away. थोड़ा सा उम्मीद आ जाता है कि कर लेंगे, शायद हो जाएगा, ये जगती है. सो ऐसे ही हमने अगर हमारे अपने बारे में सोचा, how many of us are carrying these भूत बंगलाज inside of us? ऐसे कितने भूत पाल रखे हैं हमने? Psychologists will call them adverse childhood experiences and traumas based on that. मैं इसे बोलूंगा आपके छोटे प्यारे भूत जो आपने पाल रखे हैं. बट ये क्या आप ये भूत बंगले के तरफ जा पा रहे हो? क्या आप इसे एक्सेस कर पा रहे हो? क्या उसमें से भूख मुक्ति मोचन कर पा रहे हो? नहीं. वो करने के लिए आपको किसी का शायद साथ लगेगा. कोई है साथ देने वाला? इतना मालूम पड़ गया मुझे, उम्मीद अपने आप आती है, किसी को देने की जरूरत नहीं. So that's how I would like to, I know it's a very long way to kind of go around to talk about hope, but it's a very nuanced thing. And the sooner we realize that it is not our responsibility to develop hope. Suicide prevention is got nothing to do with the words that you say, because this is also addressing the questions that you have had. I assure you, there is no sequence of words that we have been able to research and find out that will lead to a person deciding, oh, why didn't you say so? Now I know suicide नहीं करना है. चलो तो मैं आपको दे देता हूं, ओम सुसाइडाय नमः. नहीं होने वाला. Your words are not what help. But are you ready to be with the person? This willingness, this is very intangible. This is beyond words. If that part of you is there, that area, compassion side of you works, and which is not in a urgency to heal the person, then what you may be able to do is hold space for them while their painful journey comes to a close. So instead of telling them कल सुबह सब ठीक हो जाएगा, वो रात उनके साथ बिता दिए ना, वो खुद देख पाएंगे कि जो सुबह हो रही है. आपको बोलने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. क्या समझे?
Correct.
So that's about hope and hopelessness.
That was really interesting. अभी time हो चुका है, तो
शुरू करें अंताक्षरी.
शुरू करें अंताक्षरी. Yeah. So हम लोग वो इस मंथ की थीम को साथ लेके आगे बढ़ते हैं, जो है rekindle the journey, your story is not over. और यहीं पे हम लोग नैरेटिव की बात कर रहे हैं, चेंजिंग द नैरेटिव्स इन द डोमेन ऑफ सुसाइड. ये है हम लोग का थीम इस साल का. और सुसाइड के साथ हमारा जो सब थीम है, बोल से उम्मीद, उस उम्मीद का छोटा सा पार्ट मैंने बस पूछा था सचिन से कि व्हाट डज ही अंडरस्टैंड ऑफ दैट, एंड उसका एक अमेजिंग इंट्रोडक्शन, एक अमेजिंग पर्सपेक्टिव मिला, जिससे लगता है कि जिस सोच के साथ हम लोगों ने बोल से उम्मीद रखा था, उसकी नरेटिव बदल गई. सो ही चेंज्ड द नरेटिव इटसेल्फ.
क्योंकि हम यही सोच के बैठे हैं ना, वी आर थिंकिंग दैट देयर इज अपेरेंटली समथिंग फ्लोटिंग अराउंड द वर्ल्ड कॉल्ड होप, एंड द मोमेंट यू and people are hungry and they are not able to eat this fruit called hope. So if I just pluck it and put it in that person's mouth, job done. Then this is not a good understanding of how humanity operates.
Correct. So with the hunger of knowing more about what he has with him today for us, we'll be beginning the program officially, the event officially. So here we go. Every life is a story worth telling, worth saving, and worth cherishing. On this World Suicide Prevention Month, we gather here under our very own theme where we talk about rekindling our own journey and stories. This day reminds us that silence does not have to be the final chapter. It is something that we already have beyond silence. So, we are here bringing on voice, connections, and stories of hope, which is helping us to know more and rekindle the journey ahead in anyone's life. So, the World Health Organization reminds us that more than 7 lakh people die by suicide every year. And behind each statistic is a life, a family, a community is there. Yet, research consistently shows that talking about suicide does not increase risk. It actually reduces stigma and opens doors to help. So, this is why we welcome you all to this particular podcast, which is dedicated to that conversations that matter, conversations that heal, connect, and inspire action. So, I am Dishari, the host of the evening, and today we are not just talking about suicide prevention, we are also holding space for courage, compassion, and community. Whoever joined us today a little early already got a very golden moment and got introduced to our amazing guest of today's eve. He is someone who has dedicated his entire life to ensure that silence never becomes the last word. We are honored to welcome Mr. Sachin Chitambaran, founder and director of training at the Connect Hut. With over 13 years of experience in suicide prevention, Sachin has trained thousands in active listening, QPR, suicide prevention, and empathy building interventions. So, his work span across schools, workplaces, correlation facilities, and even correctional homes with seafarers across the globe. Simply put, Sachin's work reminds us that prevention begins with presence and that listening can be life-saving. That's what he said today.
And my message doesn't change.
Yes. So, Sachin, it's an honor to have you with us today. So, turning to you, I would also like to know that if you could share with our audience, what else do you have for us and what else do you do? Along with the Connect Hut, we also know about the helpline numbers. Could you please enlighten our audience about that?
Sure. So, in fact, I've been operational in this field for over 15 years now, and for the past 11 years, I've been working predominantly in India, and we have been helping other countries through while being in India. Currently, I'm associated with 3 organizations. The Connect Hut is is an organization I founded. It's a for-profit where our mission is to make mental health simple and accessible, where our aim is to not make psychologists out of regular people, but help them understand what mental health looks and is experienced as them in their own life, and then help them connect to, improve their own lives. In addition to the Connect Hut, where we also offer affordable counseling online, I am also the founder and director of training with Ankahi Suicide Prevention Helpline, which is based out of Mumbai and runs every day for free of cost from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. for anyone who may be distressed, despairing, or even experiencing thoughts of suicide. This is a completely confidential, anonymous, and a non-judgmental service. And we assure you, when you reach out to us, you will not be told what you have to do with your life, or you will not be told about what what solutions, advice, or we won't give you any meaningless hope either. Our job is to listen to you and your pain, help you navigate your complex internal environment to reach painful wounds and be able to talk about it in a safe space. And that is all. And we believe when someone is able to talk about their pain in a confidential, non-judgmental manner, it leads to an alleviation of distress, despair, and even suicidal thoughts. And this is coming from a long a legacy of suicide prevention helplines like Samaritans UK that was started in 1961. And so it is in that same legacy that we have started Ankahi Helpline. Ankahi is also part of Befrienders India initiative. Now it's called Befrienders Initiative, under which there are 14 suicide prevention helplines that operate across India. So those who may even have language requirements. So we have these helplines present not just in Kolkata, we have them in Delhi, we have them in Bombay, Bangalore, we have Chennai, Kerala, Jamshedpur, Gujarat. So majority of the states, we have these helplines, and we are looking for more volunteers, more people to come in and join our cause so that we can have more such helplines where we train individuals to be better listeners and help people get emotional support during their tough times. Now, the Befrienders Initiative, which is the umbrella organization, I'm also the current president of that organization. So this is how my work spans across, the country as well. As well as we, through Connect Heart, we started the first suicide prevention and a helpline in Pakistan. We have helped organizations in UAE to help blue-collar laborers, even organizations in Africa. So suicide is a problem across the world, and we have been trying in our own small way to be of help to anyone who may require it. And that applies to the audience of today's session as well. So do feel free to be in touch with us, and we are more than happy to share whatever we can to help you guys deal with suicide. So
that is great. That was really important and informative. Thank you. Sociologists often say that silence is both a shield and a wall. So it protects us sometimes, but it can also keep us isolated. So in your experience, Sachin, why is silence so powerful when it comes to mental health?
Right. Now, so because I'm coming from a suicide prevention helpline background, so my experience is coming from talking to over thousands of people who are going through different states of distress, right? Even to someone who may be on the verge of attempting or succumbing to suicide. So what does silence mean to me? Silence can be looked at from the perspective of when the caller is silent and when I am silent as a listener. And there are some nuances here. And these nuances start from even before the call starts. So what do I mean here? Consider this, Dishari. Have you ever experienced a time in your life where you're going through a very high amount of emotional pain, where you felt it was almost impossible to see the light at the end of the tunnel? Right? Now, think about the challenges or situations that you were experiencing in your life at that time. Many of those things would also be related to these very difficult feelings like shame, guilt, right? Things that I have done bad, things that have happened bad to me, and all these things. This is where majority of our trauma or unspoken trauma kind of lie, our secrets. Right? Now, consider this. There are things that you feel ashamed for, guilty for, and all of these things. How comfortable are you to talk about them? Will you share that with any of your family member?
Correct.
You will not. Why? Do you see the challenge here? There is a sense of loss you may experience. If I do this, I may lose something. This is stopping you. Now, this is building up. It's coming to a point you're suffocating. Now, you came to know that there is a helpline that I can call. But what do you think a suicide prevention helpline will do for me? Now, do you see, this is the first point of you trying to make this phone call. right? Consider the emotional state of the person who's already feeling down, feeling suicidal, feeling hopeless, feeling like a burden. All of these things are going on, and they're experiencing it so intensely that their need for escape is happening, an urge is happening to almost. And at this state, I have to reach out for help, which is something that I'm not used to. Then what is it that is going through my mind when I'm trying to dial that number? Can you think about that, Dishari? What could go through your mind when you're trying to dial that number?
Usually, if the person is not from our field, they would have the major thought that, what if I am not accepted there as
There
well?
you
What
go.
if?
See, right? And don't try to make it another person's story. Think about yourself. Keep it.
Okay, yeah.
Right? If I were
What
to
if
take
that
this
person
call,
will
will
also
this
not
person,
understand?
yeah, will this person accept me? Accept?
Mhm,
What does that mean? Will this person make fun of me?
mhm,
Or will this person think that, oh, this person has such a small issue and is being such a drama queen about it? Is
mhm.
this person going to understand how this pain, how much I'm in pain right now? Can they even see this? Will they care? You know? So already I'm having all these pain and all these things. But just to make that phone call, do you see what else all I have to deal with? Right? And now I've made that call. Okay, fine. I've tried to make this call 50 times before, but every time just before I will hang up or I will not complete or, but this time I let it ring. Can you imagine how long that ring is? And there is one ring. There is the second ring. There is the third ring. And then you hear a voice on the other side. If you call Ankahi, you may hear Ankahi helpline. Can I help you? You hear this. And all these questions that you still had in your mind, you're still experiencing it now. What can they even say or do that will make me stop feeling this way? Can they do anything about it? Is this not going to be a waste of time? Like, what can they do? They don't even know me. Even the people in my life are not able to help me. What is this bugger going to do?
ले लिया तुमने
Right?
लिया है कि उन्होंने दिया नहीं नहीं दिया
Oh, someone got unmuted, I guess.
कितने
Hmm. I think they got. So, everyone who's unmuting yourself, please do mute.
I'm muted, no worries.
Okay. So, where was I? That broke my chain.
Yeah, so what can the other person say who
Right.
is
So, do you see all these questions are going on? And imagine if the sense of guilt is eating me up. So, when I, as a listener, when I picked up and I said, for me, this is what? 3 rings and I'm picking up. For me, I'm not invested. I'm not having all this backlog of emotions, right? I'm just open and I'm, Ankai helpline, can I help you? Do you think I will always hear someone saying hello back? Many a times it's just silence, right? So now if I ask this question, what does this silence mean? Do you see what all can it mean? And for a suicide prevention helpline, very often for us, it means that someone on the other side is going through so much pain that they don't even know where to start. And even in that silence, see, growing up, we may be very much used to, people playing pranks on us by calling us and, ding dong ditch. So they may call us, they may not say anything. So very often, anyone we pick up, and if the phone is silent, now we get annoyed. In fact, human beings have a very awkward relationship with silence. We call, what do you, when you are in an elevator with 6 other people, how is that silence? What does that silence mean? You see, so every silence brings with it, there's a lot of feelings that can be accommodated that take space in that silence. So for a person who's, for example, in a position to give support as a support giver, so I would like the ones who are listening, yes, there is a comfort silence too. When I have a very peaceful relationship with my partner where we can stay in the same room and share silence, still feel connected, do our own thing, but we still feel connected. And there is that beautiful silence as well, a comforting silence. A friend of mine, when I'm going through grief, but sits next to me with just a hand on my shoulder, saying not a single word. He doesn't have to say there to show I see. You don't have to do that. Sometimes silence can even accommodate a conversation without having to take place. But the entire conversation does take place. So this is what, without words, feelings can also do. But contextually, we have to look at what type of silence this is. If I'm in the elevator, it's an awkward silence. If I'm in a caregiver position, if I'm there to provide emotional support to someone, this is probably one of the biggest tools I have. Being able to offer that silence for that person as well. And letting them know that being silent is also fine. We are not even having an expectation from you to break this silence, because maybe even doing that is hurting right now. But what if I am able to help the person feel that, hey, take your time. You know, this entire call, you don't even have to say a word, but I'll still try to stay with you as long as I can. And maybe you may start being able to trust, because very often these injuries lead to lack of connection is what we are experiencing. And connection needs trust. So from a meta perspective, this is what is lacking here, where a person is finding it difficult to trust anyone to share this heavy burden that I'm carrying. Because even my mother may get disappointed in me if I tell this to her. Even my father may be embarrassed of me if I say this to him. Right? So even allowing this to happen and being okay with it, this we will have to practice, because we have exposure to lots of different types of silence. Right? For a lot of us, it's very difficult if I know that the other person is pain and then I have to sit with them silently. It's like, what is it am I experiencing? This same silence, which could have been a beautiful moment of connection, suddenly is very uncomfortable for me. Because why? Because there is a need in me to give hope or give solution, give advice, make this person feel better. But that is not your department. Understand this. You want to make that person feel better, sit with them for some time. And allow yourself to be vulnerable, authentic in front of them. And very often human beings just require that. And silence is also the space of witnessing, where you are able to really witness their pain and allow them to be in that. It's a very, very meaningful gift you can offer.
True. So now that we have already spoken about Ummeed, we have talked about chuppi, silence, I would like to bring up interesting point, and I've curated it in the form of myth versus reality. You can just say a yay or a nay and give your reasons. And these are really genuine questions we all might have in our minds sometime or the other. Does talking about suicide really puts the idea in someone's head that, okay, there is a discussion going on, there is a movie, that, okay, that character also did that when that person was feeling that. So I am also feeling something around that. So I might also. Sometimes parents, while some parents, not everybody, maybe like when they're very angry, like, you're not listening to me. Okay, when I die someday, you'll understand. Okay, or I'll take away my life if you're not doing that. So in the perspective of threat, that's a very common thing. Sometimes parents might just say like that. So do you think that might put an idea in someone's head that, okay, suicide is a thing, we can do it?
So are we first asking the people in the group? Or
Okay.
should I be answering? Oh, I can address this. So first off, what you have asked is two questions. Because talking about suicide, or you also put in that media perspective, or in fact, three things. And you also given the example of the mother saying this. So these are three different things. Huh? It's not the same thing. Let me kind of address this. When we are talking about suicide, what do we mean to talk about suicide? To talk about suicide is not to talk about suicide as a thing that is happening to someone else. So we are discussing or gossiping about suicide. This is not what I mean by talking about suicide. Like Sushant Singh died by suicide. No, suicide nahi hai, murder hai. This is not talking about suicide. This is gossip. That has a different impact. I will talk about it. But we have to first, demarcate the boundaries here. When I am talking about suicide or this question, this myth to be addressed, the question is to be more clear. If I ask Dishari right now, Dishari, have you been having suicidal thoughts? Or Dishari, have you been having thoughts like killing yourself or just going away forever or not being alive anymore or feeling like a burden? Have you felt like this? Now, Dishari just had a breakup. A big, long relationship, 8-year relationship, just had a breakup. Her career mein, the boss is asking her, if you don't improve, I'll sack you in 1 week. Parents are upset with her because she's not saying yes to marriage. There are other 10 things that are going on wrong in her life. And Dishari is kind of right now in that tough phase where she may be experiencing a lot of pain. Right? So I've created the best scenario. Dishari is down in the dumps. And now I ask Dishari, have you been having suicidal thoughts? Now, can this cause an idea in Dishari's mind? Because I would rather let this be the worst case scenario that you think, Sachin, aisa hoga to shayad hona chahiye. Now, in this explicit scenario that I mentioned, if I ask this question to Dishari, can that cause ideation or an idea in Dishari's mind? What does everyone think? And what do you even think, Dishari?
So I would like to hear from the audience first.
Let's see.
Let's engage a little. If anyone is willing to answer to that or maybe write in the chat section, you're okay.
So we have a few no's. Some of us, there is a yes as well. Yes, it can cause, right? Sachin, the person is so down. Abhi tumne pucha to fir, aren't you like playing with fire, Sachin? Because people are so impressionable. Monkey see, monkey do. Yes, all these things are coming up. So let's understand this. Dishari, did you have breakfast, lunch, something before this call?
Yes.
You're
Lunch.
nicely fed? Yes. So if I ask you, Dishari, are you hungry right now? So Smriti is saying that there is a way on how you put it. It's not like even that. I would still argue that as well. Now I've just simply asked Dishari, are you hungry, Dishari?
So I would say no.
Just say it. You don't have to announce.
Okay. No.
Let me ask you again. Dishari, sachi bolo. Bhook lagi hai? Nahi? Are, one more time just for good luck. Dishari, are you hungry?
No, I am not.
Are, so me asking you this question is not making you hungry, huh? So strange. Why aren't you like that monkey see, monkey do? If I ask you 3 times, at least now to you would say no, yes, no. You know why you are saying no, Dishari? Because you don't feel hungry. Right? So what am I trying to say here? If I ask someone, are you having suicidal thoughts? What do you think is happening in their head? Hey, yaar, kya idea diya?
No.
Hey, मैंने नहीं सोचा ये. I could die. Oh wow, what a brilliant, bulb lighting moment happened. Like I could kill myself and all these problems are over. What do you think of human beings here? This is not how human beings operate, right? The fear of death that you, my friend, have, why would that person have it any less? Why you had an evolution, that person had a devolution. I don't know. What is the argument here? This is where the stigma and the fear comes in.
So Shreyansh has put up a point. I think that is interesting. Like he says, I think it can hit them in the way that feeling suicidal is something that is expected of their circumstance.
Now, wait. This is different. I'll explain this as well, huh? But very good points are coming out. What did I do here in this case? Did I tell Dishari, मरने वरने के बारे में सोच रहे कि नहीं? अरे मस्त एक्टिविटी है. Is that what I did? Am I doing go suicide? Let's all do it. ये जी के मतलब नहीं है. Is that what I'm doing? Am I sounding like a cheerleader of suicide? Or am I asking another person? Just I would ask if someone showed me signs of COVID while COVID was going on in major way. And if I actually gave a damn about that person, if I really cared about that person, you know what I would ask? तूने test किया क्या? Did you go for a test? Did you check for, bro, you're showing some symptoms. Have you taken some steps for this? If I don't care about the person, na, I'll be just like, thoda dur rehta hu bas. You would not ask. So over here, when you're asking about suicide, you're not promoting suicide. Is the first thing you need to understand. And by asking about suicide, you're not going to give an idea to them, no matter how down the dumps the person is. But then what is it? There is another thing you spoke about, Sachin, but media में देखेंगे तो मीडिया में डिप्रेशन दिखा दिया, बोजैक हॉर्समैन देख के किसी को थोड़ी ना डिप्रेशन होगा, है ना? These things are coming up. Now, what is the difference? Dishari, will you have a Kaju Katli if I give you right now?
I might.
Will you have a Rasgulla? I know you're Bengali, right?
Yeah.
Would you like a Rasgulla, Dishari? Maybe 2. Yes. Guys, did I make Dishari hungry suddenly? Did you observe what just happened, Dishari? I asked you about hunger. It didn't cause you hunger. But when I offered you, what did I offer you? Kaju Katli or Rasgulla. Now, what is the connection of Rasgulla and Kaju Katli with you? It is not a connection of hunger. There is an association. There is an emotional connection that you have with Rasgulla and Kaju Katli, which even if you are not hungry, you are ready to overcome. This is what your media is doing. When a movie is released like Ek Duje Ke Liye, it's a relatively old movie. But in that movie, the conclusion that you have derived or you have portrayed, the movie's name is not Ek Duje Ke Liye. It is Ek Duje Ke Liye ... You know what it is? Ek Duje Ke Liye mar sakte hain. They didn't say the whole thing out. They leave it for imagination. What is the name of the movie? Ek Duje Ke Liye मर सकते हैं. क्योंकि अगर ज्यादा प्यार हुआ ना तो टेस्ट में क्या होता है मालूम है? मर के दिखाओ. This is the poisonous narrative. This is your Kaju Katli. Is this making sense?
Absolutely.
Now what is happening? Someone is going through a tough relationship issue. I am Rahul and she is Nikita. We are different caste, different religion, different language. Parents are not allowing us. They are putting Nikita's engagement to some other person and they are engaging me to someone else. I went and saw the movie. We were experiencing so much pain together. We can't imagine our life separated and all of those things. And then I watch Ek Duje Ke Liye with all that amazing music and I'm seeing this is my life on the movie. Right? Isn't this exactly what is going on in my life? So it's not me, Rahul and Nikita. If our love is challenged, I can be Romeo and Juliet too. And there is apparently something like my love will live after me is a concept, is the Kaju Katli that you sold him. And when someone is experiencing these high levels of pain and they were probably one of them or both of them were to some level suicidal, that means this was symptomatic. And this is why we need to understand what suicide is. Suicide or suicidal thoughts is not someone wishing upon these thoughts. If you're a psychologist, you are aware of this term called intrusive thoughts. Intrusive thoughts कोई सोच के नहीं लाता, वो symptomatic है. Intrusive thoughts happen to the person. If you talk to someone who's suicidal, you will hear from their own mouth how scared they are of these thoughts. And your curing method is involving them, telling them, don't think this. No, this is what is emerging. Right? And for someone who's experiencing suicidal thoughts, who are on the verge of feeling like Romeo and Juliet, you have now confirmed to them, as per what our friend just mentioned in the chat as well. Right? Shreyansh has mentioned that feeling suicidal is something that is expected of them. Sorry, sir. It's not feeling suicidal that is expected of them. And seeing this, I start feeling suicidal is not how suicide comes up. I'm experiencing high levels of pain. Symptomatically, hopelessness has come up, and then suicidal thoughts is a natural progression for mind to experience pain. And when I reach this stage and there is these stupid, not thought of projections of human pain and redemption being spoon-fed to me, now I will conclude that suicidal thoughts that I'm experiencing is not something to be afraid of and get help for, is in fact a natural conclusion, and I should act on it. Is that making you understand the difference? This is what we call as Werther's effect. This is a researched effect. It's also called suicide contagion. If media's portrayal of suicide is sensationalized, is glamorized, by creating such stories. Have you heard of news? And this is trigger warning. So anyone who needs to mute me right now, please do. Because these are graphic news articles that come up. Betrayed in love, had no other choice but to hang by a tree. Jilted lover gets the ultimate revenge. We mention this person hung from this type of noose for this long for that death to happen. All of this graphic information we put out there. We talk about methods of dying. We talk about how much the रस्सी का cost कितना था, कौन से दुकान से खरीदे हम, किस तरह बांधी थी. Dishari, the tragedy is we as human beings, we don't know how to kill ourselves. Thank God. But then media comes along. You may have a popular show like 13 Reasons Why, where all of us think that, oh my God, they did such a fantastic job of showcasing suicide awareness. Do you think they cared about suicide awareness? When you take one entire episode with the best lighting possible and to show suicide in its goriest details with the best lighting possible, and then somehow show that girl had no other option. See, everyone sucked in the person's life. So obviously she had to die this way. And look how pleasant she looked, how beautiful she looked, how painful her situation looked. And all those who are looking at her are feeling bad. Maybe that is how. Because parents ask me, Sachin, kids are being suicidal. That's because they are all weak and nonsense and all of that. But I have to ask you all, when Sushant Singh's case was going on, for 6 months, even more than 6 months, every evening, 7 p.m. or 9 p.m. onwards for the next 2-3 hours. In fact, some of them had taken up the whole day talking about just one thing. When you were watching this news, wasn't your child around you? And you are asking me, how did he come to know about suicide? When you were watching those shows, didn't you say, बेचारा, कितना होनहार था, इतना प्रतिभाशाली था, he had nothing to do, फिर भी किया, बेचारा. I feel so bad for him. I feel like crying for him. उसके पेरेंट्स के साथ कितना उनके पेरेंट्स को दर्द हुआ रहेगा. ये सब आपके बेटे और बेटी ने सुना है. और वो क्या सोच रहा है, भैया मैं इतने दर्द में हूं, कब से हूं, इतना परेशान हूं, ये तो मुझे कभी नहीं समझ पाए. मैं तो निठल्ला हूं, बेवकूफ हूं, बदमाश हूं, मैं तो कुछ भी सही नहीं कर सकता. बट इन्होंने ही बताया ना मुझे अभी, अगर इनको समझना है कि मैं कौन हूं, मैं कितने दर्द में हूं, कैसे समझेंगे ये? बताइए दिशारी। तभी
ऐसे।
समझेंगे ना जब
हाँ।
मुझे मिस करेंगे। देखो अभी आप ही ने ये च्युइंगम बना के दिया है, समझ रहे? सो डज टॉकिंग अबाउट सुइसाइड cause suicide, create ideas? No. If you're talking to help, if you're talking about suicide, if you're having a conversation on suicide as a sense of inquiry to help the person, it is in fact recommended that you ask. In fact, Dishari, the first step of suicide prevention starts with asking the question: are you having suicidal thoughts? Are you having thoughts of killing yourself? You know why, Dishari? Because people like me, for example, if I go to someone's house now, I can't even tell them I'm hungry. Even if it's my best friend. I can't go to their house and be like, hey, खाना निकाल, भूख लगी है. या मुझे भूख लगी है, खाना है क्या? But isn't this a very basic requirement that we have? Yes. But I can't even say this out. अब मैं किस मुंह से किसी को बोलूं कि मुझे मरने के ख्याल आ रहे हैं? How do I say this to someone? Because even I don't understand this. How will they understand it? Where do I begin explaining myself? You know? क्योंकि वो तो अभी सोचो ना, imagine this conversation I may have with my partner, my wife, for example. देविका, पता नहीं यार क्या हो रहा है आजकल, ऐसे लग रहा है कि सब खत्म हो जाएगा, like I don't see the point of living anymore. और ऐसा आ रहा है. What is my wife going to think now? Oh, he's going through so much pain. Let me and him talk more. Let me listen to him. Let me see if I can, we can go to a psychologist or a mental health professional. Let's see what help can come out. Is this what my wife is thinking? Or is my wife thinking, मैंने क्या किया? मेरे प्यार में क्या कमी रह गई? Did I do something to make this happen to you? If I am in your life and you're still feeling this way, how bad am I? अरे भैया क्या तुम तुम्हारे ट्रिप में चले गए, मैं मेरा दर्द बता रहा हूं. समझ रहे हैं? ये चीजें हमें समझ. So if you need to first and foremost understand suicide or suicidal thoughts, understand suicidal thoughts is a symptom. What does that mean? आप छींकते हो ना, that is a symptom of cold या allergy या COVID. Similarly, suicidal thoughts is a symptom of underlying high psychological pain. And what do you understand by psychological pain? Any and every unresolved trauma that you have, right from childhood. Unresolved trauma matlab unaware trauma nahi. Many of us are aware of our traumas. But if you haven't done anything to heal from it, it is still pain. It is still a source of pain. If you have enough of this can cause you to feel like something has broken inside. Now, the point is, I have a body that can show pain very effectively. If my hand broke here, ui ma mar gaya. That will happen, that level of pain, my body will show me here. But when something breaks in my mind, how will it show me? Mind is not my body. Mind is not my brain. Mind is not my heart. Mind is not my soul. But there is something known as mind that I have. And that entity experiences pain. Now, my question to you is, how will it show me 10 degree of pain? That kuch toot gaya hai. Now, what is the case? Let's say 1 degree of pain my mind shows me by taking away some of my concentration. Some overthinking will start happening, is 1 degree of pain for my mind. 2 degree of pain, now I'm not able to sleep properly. 3 degree of pain, 4 degree of pain, 5 degree of pain, now I'm starting to get irritated more. 6 degree of pain, now I'm not sleeping anymore. Now whatever my personality was, if I used to be quiet, now I'm shouting. If I used to be an extrovert, now I'm introverting, I'm isolating. 7 degree of pain. 8th degree of pain. Now I'm believing that this situation is never going away. I start believing this is chronic. What does that mean? Hopelessness is setting in. This is your mind communicating to you, भैया दर्द हो रहा है, भैया थोड़ा नहीं बहुत दर्द हो रहा है. This is your mind communicating to you through you. But I'm not able to look at this objectively. Why? Because it is hurting. Right? And the thing with mental pain is it's like the fracture that you can't see. So you don't know where the fracture is. So it's just a general sense of discomfort at a high level. So I don't know where to point it at. Now, 10 degree of pain kya hua, Dishari? My mind tells me, mar ja. This is the way mind is communicating intensity of pain. This is not a person thinking marne mein maja aayega. Is that making sense?
Yeah, it is.
So once I am able to change my view of suicide, that this is not someone wanting to do, wishing to do, can't wait to do, we move from that and see that this is an experience the person is also having to go through. And instead of telling the person what to do, what I need to do is be there with the person. Then the whole scenario changes. Then I am the person walking with him to the Bhoot Bangla. I'm able to explore the Bhoot Bangla. I'm able to look ki koi mara bhi tha ki nahi hai. I'm able to see actually this is no booth. It is just a creaky window that happens here and an owl that has been living there with his whole family. I'm able to discover. I'm able to find things. I'm able to take help and begin healing. So I know it's a long-winded thing that I've shared, but sensationalizing, glamorizing, talking about graphic details of suicide, projecting it on media. We think that our media is becoming very cool when they show people's throats getting slit, people harming themselves, killing themselves, cutting themselves, and it's all but natural and this is okay. And I am just showing what real life is. I'm sorry, my friend, you are doing a lot of harm to the society because you are also creating a ripple effect for the future. And anyone and everyone in media who is doing this, I am sorry, I am calling you out. You are guilty of this. Just to give you an idea, if the newspapers and media stop showing suicide-based news for even 2 weeks, countries have experienced a drop in suicide to up to 12% during that duration, just because media was not portraying suicide. Suicide is not a clickbait. Suicide is not a front page news. Suicide is not how you sell a movie. If you have creativity, you will question your talent, not use clickbait like suicide, which is creating another ripple. Because after every suicide, Dishari, it impacts 120 people on average. Every suicide. And among those 120 people, 20 of them are impacted to a degree where their chances of having suicidal thoughts in the future increases by 10%. Are you seeing what I mean here? This is the Werther's effect. This is coming with the sensationalizing and the blind representation of suicide as a completely harmless thing to kind of willy-nilly throw around and make it a talking point. That's when suicide is dangerous. But when I'm having this conversation with my mother, with my partner, with my client, with my friend, with my colleague, this is actually what saves life. Because my friend, when he doesn't ask me if I'm hungry, I will not tell him. But if imagine that day my friend asked me, hey, you hungry? We have got nice chicken fry. Will I be probably able to say yes? Right? So the same question, Dishari, our biggest fear, what is the biggest lie we tell ourselves? Sachin, I don't want to ask him because if I ask him, it will either cause an idea or it will make him angry. These are the two lies we tell ourselves. I'll tell you what the lie is. You're not afraid that it will cause an idea. You know why? You have never asked, so you don't know. You have never asked this question, my friend. That's why you don't know what happens after when you ask the question. Because if research has actually shown when you ask this question, the anxiety that the person was actually experiencing because of their suicidal thoughts, there is a release. And they're finally able to talk about it and take steps to help themselves. Right? Your fear is not that the person will get angry. Right? Because I'll ask you, angry friend better है कि dead friend?
Angry friend.
Angry friend better है ना? और आपने पूछा भी नहीं है उसको, तो आपको पता भी नहीं है वो गुस्सा होगा. तो पहले आप झूठ बोलना बंद करें. मैं आपको बता दूं आपका डर क्या है. आपका डर ये है, Sachin, if I ask him the question, what if the person says yes? What if the person says yes? That is your fear. Now, Dishari, if your friend has come home, they look hungry. If you ask the question and the friend says, yes, I am hungry, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It is a good thing.
You know why? You won't have to live with the pain that, yaar, मैंने पूछा होता तो. Guess what I hear after suicides? यार उसने मुझे एक बार भी नहीं बताया. He didn't even tell me once that this is what he's going through. You see what the question had to be? What if I was able to ask him once? That is what helps the person open up and talk about it. Now that you know about this, not just to Dishari, but to everyone who's knowing this for the first time today. Before today, you didn't know this part. You didn't have access to this information. You were ignorant to this. अगर हम ignorant हैं, तो दिशारी क्या हमारी गलती है? नहीं. आपको पता ही नहीं है ना? पता ही नहीं है तो आपकी गलती कैसे हुई? आपको पता ही नहीं, आपके पास ये सोर्स ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन ही नहीं है, तो ये आपकी गलती नहीं है. अगर किसी के ऊपर बिल फाड़ना, मुझ पे फाड़ दो, कोई टेंशन नहीं. सचिन, यू केम टू अस वेरी लेट, यू आर वेरी लेजी, तुमने बहुत टाइम लगा दिया आने में. अगर तुम पहले आ जाते तो मेरे दोस्त या मेरे किसी का लाइफ बच जाता. आई विल टेक दैट, आई एम सॉरी, आई केम लेट. आप मुझ पे बिल डाल दो, कोई टेंशन. बट आज से आपको क्या करना है समझ में आ गया होगा. क्या हम आज से ये सवाल पूछ पाएंगे?
Yes.
है ना. आज से आप लोग आगे अपने आसपास में जो 10-15 लोग हैं ना आपके लाइफ में जिनसे आपको फर्क पड़ता है, उनका आप ख्याल रख लो. इतना मेरा काम हो गया. I don't have to worry about those 15 people anymore. So you take care of those 5, 10, 15 people in your life. You be open to asking the serious question, the real question when it needs to be. Because if you get the answer soon enough, you will be able to offer help soon. Over 50% of India's population is dealing with mental health issues. This is as per WHO. Over 15% of India's population is having psychiatric issues as per NIMHANS. Over 8.4 crores people annually are experiencing suicidal ideation in the country. Almost 42 lakh people are attempting every year. But हमें पता ही नहीं चल रहा. Because हम कोई बात नहीं कर रहे. हम सिर्फ, we are allowing these news people and the media people to dictate this conversation, and we are making it inaccessible to ourselves. Hold it, grab it, have those conversations. I have had this conversation even with my mother, my best friends. I've had this conversation with my uncles, aunts, and guess what? They were all experiencing suicidal thoughts. But taking that first step has allowed them to take steps in their life rather than get stuck with that pain. So it's a very long answer to, I know it sounded like a very simple question, but I had to kind of address all these points. So if there is any follow-up, and Shreyansh, you from your side as well, if there's any follow-up, do mention. I have shared with you guys the Werther's effect, WERTHER. It's also called a suicide contagion. Read up on it. All this information is freely available. You have no excuse. Now that I've told you this, now you don't have any excuse to stay ignorant. Go ahead, go through these, find more. And there is also a positive effect of positive reporting, which is if media companies report on suicide without glamorizing, sensationalizing, just as suicide, just if it is even needed for that matter, if you're without any mention of how and when, and there is WHO guidelines very simply out there. If you are able to do this and share helpline details of psychologists or mental health professionals, if you're able to do that in every article that you put out on suicide or any mental health issues, people are now able to access help. This leads to a positive impact. So as media personals, I'm not just calling you out as a bad people, but you also are having the power to turn this tide. So please come together and we can do something about it. I mean, any follow-up or?
So, Sachin, I know that it's already 4. I wanted to know a little bit about QPR and DOT, but if we do not have much time, we would not go into that segment.
So, I mean, just quickly to tell you, what are the things that you as regular person can do or you as a mental health professional can do? There are lots of trainings available right now. Dishank, a colleague of mine, they have also shared details about our website and social media and different ways you can get to know about the trainings and things that we have. I think there was also a question someone had asked, like, what are the different trainings and things that I can go through? Now, very often, what I feel a lot of people don't go through, like before you start going into different modalities, like, you have your REBT, CBTs, all of this thing. Have you got you definitely need a training on listening, because that is very foundational. And I feel a lot of people do not quite see how complicated and nuanced this art and science is of listening. So go for trainings that would help you in developing active listening skills. Let that not just be a behavioral experiment. Go for value-based, a holistic way to develop your listening skills. QPR and even Listen is a in-house modality that we have developed. These are modalities which are suicide gatekeeper programs. These programs are very helpful. These are short 3-hour programs that can help you understand what are the warning signs of suicide when someone is experiencing those things and how to get them help, how to start a conversation with them, how to listen. I mean, again, listening is a much more complex thing, but we can at least have some bits to understand how to offer empathy, sympathy in such situations, and how to get them refer help to them, like how to enable them to get a professional help or something like that. So it is see, listen and process or refer in that way. So QPR also stands for question, persuade, refer. So what are you doing? Being able to ask the question, being able to help the person get help, and then offering that help. So this is a suicide gatekeeper modality. In addition to this, we have also developed basics of suicidality and basics of mental health, where we try to help people understand in as commonsensical manner, like we had the conversation today, what suicide really means. What is the genesis of it? Objectively looking at suicide, rather borrowing it from an ethical lens of good, bad, as an act of attention seeking or weakness. Until and unless we get rid of these ethical biases that we have when we look at suicide, we will not be able to do justice to someone with suicidal ideation around us. If you feel you are not able to do it, so this is why we also have an advanced course called Dot Listening, which is a 30 to 40-hour course that we do, where we go through the intricacies and in-depth way to understanding listening and how to offer emotional support to someone going through even emotional crisis, like even at suicidal stage, how you can be offering a listening support that can actually help and even help prevent suicide. So there are a lot of such courses externally. We took time in developing these very holistic courses because we felt this was the gap in the market, that a lot of courses unfortunately are certification based, where it's more about telling people steps to look like a listener or sound like a listener, like, oh, give eye contact, give every 2 seconds, or say it back to them, or paraphrase or summarize. These are behavioral traits that can make you look like a listener, but doesn't really teach you what is that listening in it. And you can see the symptom of it. That when you are supposed to be listening to someone, your question to me as a listening trainer is, Sachin, what do I say? Do you see the paradox there? You are coming for a listening training and asking me for a script, but you are talking about your mouth. I'm talking about your ears. So, first and foremost, your challenge is you're not listening. And the trainings that you may be attending is telling you how to be a communicator. They are not training you to be a listener. Go identify your skills and skills that are requiring polishing. Identify that very critically for yourself. Talk to mentors, talk to people in your life who you think who are not just good having certification. Look for people who are sensible, who are able to be calm. If they don't have emotional bandwidth to manage, then they are not going to give you good help. Like their answers will be very superficial. Talk to people you can have a deep conversation with, understanding the philosophical aspects of life, the cognitive aspects of life. Make those decisions. Take help when you can. Ask for help. It's a brilliant method. You don't have to do everything on your own. And I think, to be honest, from my experience, most of the information that you're seeking is very easily accessible to you without you spending a single penny. So try to put the cause before the certification. Is a very like, you don't even need, I mean, yes, certifications are good and all of that, but honestly speaking, there's already all of that information just available just for you out there. So even before a certification, seek out the knowledge. Look for experienced people around you through whom you can learn to practice that knowledge, apply that knowledge, develop mastery over it, and then think about getting 10,000 rupees as your fees for 1 hour of counseling. So work on skill building. That's all I can say for now.
Okay, thank you so much. It was very overwhelming to hear so many things and grab so many important information. आज आपने वो लाइट हमारे अंदर जागरूक की कि जहाँ से हम लोग ये समझ पा रहे हैं कि बोल को काट के कभी-कभी चुप्पी की जरूरत है. So sometimes it just takes a pause, a breathe, and a gentle presence only to remind us that we are still here. Our story isn't over, or someone's story isn't over. So आज हम लोग अपनी कहानी यही खत्म करते हैं. और हम जरूर चाहेंगे कि आज की हमारी जो ऑडियंस है वो और भी क्यूरियस हो गए हैं आज आपके साथ बात करने के बाद, बिकॉज आई एम माई सेल्फ वाज वेरी क्यूरियस टू नो अबाउट दैट. So for our audience, I would like to say that if in case they want to know about Ankahi, they want to know about QPR more, we can share, take their permission obviously, and share the details of Connect Hut and Ankahi to the group that you people have already joined. And we would like to collaborate again for sure, because it was indeed a very, very informative and interesting conversation. So today, Sachin reminded,
Sorry, before we hang up as well, just to, if others, those who are part of here, of the conversation today, if you can in the chat share maybe at least one takeaway that maybe it's an aha moment for you, or a takeaway that you would like to put as practice in your life. Anyone that you can share, and maybe also how you're feeling, that would also be helpful. But Dishari, please continue.
Yeah, I was coming to that point. I would have given them time.
Oh, sorry.
No worries, no worries. Okay, first let's hear from the audience. You can, okay, so we got initially some questions that I already shared with you before. We could not address that due to lack of time. I think we can talk and figure out if we can find out some other way where we can discuss those questions. But as of now, if anybody has to share anything, any feedback, anything you want to. Yeah, Tanya raised her hand. Please go ahead, Tanya.
Thank you, Dishari, for giving us this opportunity to listen to Sachin share his wisdom and talk about his work. And Sachin, once again, thank you so much. I have actually attended a training from him on basics of suicidality and QPR, and that didn't stop me from attending today when I saw a message that this is happening and it's open for all. And I have also listed this um, on the chat box for all those who haven't and have gotten a very beautiful glimpse of what that training is like today. This was a very wonderfully done summing up of what we learn in a lot more depth there. It was an eye opener, alarming statistics, and we left with so much there. And even this 1 hour, it even though I have attended the training, this still gave me so much. It's always a very powerful nudge to listen to Sachin and be moved by each and every word he says. I'm always moved listening to him. And thank you so much for sharing your work with us, Sachin, and a lot of gratitude for that. And thank you, Dishari, for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind words. Did you have any question, Tanya?
No
You said
question. I
all.
had no question. I had a lot of them answered in the training. I just wanted to share this takeaway before this call ends, and also wanted others to hear this if it can motivate them to pursue the training further. And I have a question actually that I've been bugging Samriddhi for, that when is the dot active listening being scheduled? Eagerly waiting for that.
Oh, wonderful. We should be having by the third week of September. We were planning, but September has been so crazy with the talks and trainings and all of that. So, but we will publish it very soon. Thank you so much for your interest.
Thank you. Wonderful. Waiting for it.
Okay, do we have anyone else who would like to share their feedback? Actually, we already got many in the chat box. I think, Sachin, you can go through that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, most of them are feedbacks. So thank you guys. It's very, very kind of you for all this kind words that you're sharing. It's extremely um, validating and somehow make me emotional as well. But thank you so much for continuing to listen to me in whatever formats we are able to bring it to you. And I hope today is also added to that. But if there are any other questions, feel free. Otherwise, I really hope to catch you guys soon in another talk, another conversation. And as most of you who are part of our community, you are aware that you also have access to us in the form of whenever you need help. If you are going through these things yourself or have anyone in your life who may be dealing with this and you require help, you know the community is always there for you to help out. So do continue with the great work that all of you are doing, and I'm sure we will make a difference in the world for suicide prevention. So thank you so much for having me, Dishari, and looking forward for many such collaborations.
Thank you again. Continuing to what Tanya said, even I'm very grateful. My team, PsyConnect, is very grateful to have you. Thank you for initiating the collaboration and would love to join in for long term goals if that is feasible from both the ends. And it is actually feeling that 1 hour was not enough, and we could have gone for long and long. But before we end, I would like to request Sachin, if you remember, can you share the Ankahi helpline for our audience, if
Sure. I
that
mean,
is
what
possible?
we can do is we will, in the video itself, like when we are giving it to you, we'll also share our resource page with you guys. So it's not just Ankahi. We have more than that. Many helplines are there. So we would like people, no matter where in India they are watching this, to be able to access it. So we'll share all the helplines. You can look up Befrienders India or Befrienders Initiative, and also Ankahi helpline, ANKHEE. But these helplines are there. We will share it all in a nice organized format. So when PsyConnect and we publish, we are recorded this. So we will be putting it up on YouTube or other places as well. So you can have access through those as well.
Sure. So for more updates and for the audience, if you want to join more such programs, you can stay connected with both the PsyConnect and the Connect Heart. We are there to connect you. Till then, stay tuned, be peaceful, and have a good life. Thank you for joining.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.